Okay, we are live. Um, this is a little public service announcement, I suppose. I just returned from Cebu, where I was invited to a seminar with the United States Embassy. For those of you that don't know, for the last 3 years, I've been a liaison for the United States Embassy, and we met at the consulate in Cebu and we covered a lot of topics. It was an 8 hour seminar, went by in like an hour because those boys are organized. And May and I enjoyed our time in Cebu. We did have one free day to ourselves, and the trip was self-funded. So we paid for our own lodging, flight, etc. And the embassy provided the workshop and the materials. So this will not be a big, long live stream. Probably won't get to a lot of comments because what I wanted to do was get this information out to the general public. And my only request is once this live has stopped, I will be processing it to be able to be replayed. That takes about an hour. So one request is if you find this informative or helpful and you think that it will be informative or helpful to any of your friends, neighbors, whatever, please share it with them. I'm not going to ask you to like and subscribe and all that hoo-ha. That's not what this is about. This is simply to bring some of you or all of you, hopefully, up to date with what's going on at the United States Embassy here in the Philippines. There was a bit of a regime change at the top. 6 months ago, the gentleman that I used to work with, his name was Chris. He has now gone back to the States, and he is going back to some sort of school, and I think he's going even further up the food chain. And I applaud Chris because he did a fantastic job. Right now I'm working with a gentleman by the name of Scott, and there was a lot of stuff that we needed to disseminate. And believe it or not, there was a gentleman there by the name of Steve who wrote these bullet points. He said that he had me in mind when he wrote them so that I could share them here on social media. Apparently, of all the liaisons, a liaison being a buffer zone or a person that you can contact, that I can contact the embassy on your behalf should you find yourself in a pickle or you simply have a problem or an issue. And so what I want to start off with is something that I find very important and something that I have mentioned a number of times on other videos like this, is what I feel one of the best things that you can do for yourself, and I took notes here, is to register yourself with the embassy, either prior to coming out here or after you've arrived. And it is called the STEP program. And I took notes while I was there. And then I'm going to read what I think is a great outline prepared by Steve of some of the most common misconceptions as to what the embassy can and cannot do for you. So what is the STEP program? The STEP program stands for the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. It's a free service provided by the United States Department of U.S. citizens and nationals who are traveling to or living in a foreign country, not just the Philippines, including those residing long-term in the Philippines. Enrolling in STEP is particularly useful for expats and long-term residents because it keeps you connected to the United States Embassy in Manila or the consular agency in Cebu. Embed that in your brains. You want them to know that you are here, and not only that you are here, but what your location is, and that will become apparent in a moment. The key benefits of being enrolled in the STEP program. Security updates. You will be receiving the latest security, health, and weather alerts directly from the embassy via email. This includes information on natural disasters like typhoons or volcanic activity and civil unrest. Emergency assistance. In the event of a major emergency or crisis, STEP makes it much easier for the embassy to contact you or your family in the U.S. to provide assistance. I would like to embellish on that right now with a couple of anecdotes, but I'll spare you. Stay informed. You get routine information from the embassy about services for U.S. service for citizens. I'm sorry, let me repeat that. You get routine information from the embassy about services for U.S. citizens, such as upcoming town halls or changes to passport notarial services. The process is straightforward and can be done entirely online. Visit the website. Go to the official STEP, STEP website. Create an account. You can set up a frequent traveler account if you live in the Philippines. This allows you to store your information and update your local address and contact details easily. Enter your details. You'll provide your U.S. passport number, your local address in the Philippines, and emergency contact information. I can't emphasize how important that is. Confirm your location. Be sure to select the U.S. Embassy in Manila as your primary contact point. Why it matters for expats. While many think of STEP for short-term vacations, it is equally important for those living abroad. Since you are building a home and having a life established there, being on the embassy radar via STEP ensures you are not left out of the loop during regional emergencies or significant policy changes affecting U.S. citizens in the Philippines. And the official website for the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, STEP, is step.state.gov. Okay, that's so much for my notes. I will put that link in the description once this live stream has recycled itself and has turned itself into a video. Now I'm going to move right along here. It's called A View from the Trenches. And once again, I'd like to give a shout out to Steve for writing this and for keeping me in mind, because as far as I know, I'm the only liaison that has any kind of a little social presence via the YouTube channel. All right, so A View from the Trenches, Lessons from Embassies, Manila American Citizens Service Unit. I'm just going to read it, kids. We help thousands of Americans in distress every year and have a first-hand look at what can and often does go wrong. So here you go. Medical care, the myth. I have Medicare and VA disability, so I'm covered. The reality, Medicare does not work overseas. The VA in Manila is like a doctor's office, not a hospital. It does not have an emergency room and only provides limited health care to service-connected vets living in the Philippines. If you have a stroke or a motorcycle crash, a local provider may demand cash up front to start treatment. Local providers do not accept U.S. insurance, and most U.S. insurance does not cover you overseas. The embassy cannot pay hospital bills. What we see, what the embassy sees, families lose their life savings in a matter of days. If you can't pay the hospital, may stop treatment. American retirees die because they don't have enough money to get the treatment they need. Retirees without insurance often avoid going to the doctor for small problems, like an infected cut, which turns into big ones: sepsis, amputation, and death. If you don't believe me, go watch Goldfinger's video about getting a cut on his knee. Hospitals also commonly refuse to discharge medically cleared patients because of unpaid bills. What to do? Do not come to the Philippines without health insurance coverage that works here. You're one accident away from losing everything. And unfortunately, I will do a sidebar here. I've seen that over and over and over again, currently seeing it now. I won't go into the details. I want to stick to the notes here. End of life. The myth. I don't need a local will or power of attorney. My girlfriend will figure everything out. Sorry. The reality, without a plan that includes a local will, nothing prevents your property and other assets from disappearing after you pass away. Without a local power of attorney, a hospital might ignore your long-term local partner and wait for a phone call from a spouse or a family member in the United States. You may not have talked to them in 20 years before providing life-giving care. What we see, more U.S. citizens, now this will get your attention. Most U.S. citizens pass away in the Philippines than in any other consular district in the world. In fact, Scott, the head, said that Manila processes more deaths in the Philippines than the other two following consulates put together. A lot of people die over here. A lot of United States citizens die over here, is what I should say. When an American dies without a local will or other instructions, we must seek decisions from their legal spouse or adult children in the United States, even if they haven't talked in years. Some Americans are buried in mass graves if their U.S. family is unwilling or unable to make other arrangements. Leads me back to the STEP program. You can put contact information in there. It's already done. You're incapacitated. They get wind of it. They can start contacting people to see how to handle end-of-life decisions. Okay. What to do? Write a local will and include the names and contact information of people you want informed when you die. Work with a local funeral home to prepay final expenses. Choose someone to make a medical and financial decisions for you if you become unable to sign a power of attorney. If you have a local spouse or a trusted long-term partner, consider adding them to your bank accounts now so they don't lose access if you are hospitalized and passed away. I've done that with my wife, and so she has access to every nickel that I've got, and it's just for that reason there. Okay, property. The myth. I have paid for this land in our house. It's my investment, and I will always have a right to live here. The reality, foreigners cannot own land in the Philippines. What we see, we have assisted Americans who were kicked out of the house they paid for and cannot even afford a plane ticket home. What to do? Understand, if you purchase property in the name of a Filipino spouse or partner, you are buying a gift, not making an investment. Work with a local attorney familiar with real estate law. Keep enough emergency cash on hand to start over if the relationship ends. I can embellish on that for an hour because it's what I've discussed in previous videos, but I'll leave it alone. But one thing that I have always said when I said I bought my wife some property a couple of years ago, you can't own land, you can't own land, you can't own land. And they're right. Point being is that I don't want to own land. I simply wanted to give my wife a gift. The same way you might give your girlfriend or wife a new iPhone. I thought it was prudent to to give my wife a piece of land so she had a legacy after I passed. But we won't belabor that. It's a gift. And I fully agree that if you don't want to spend every last dollar you have purchasing that land or building that house, you must protect, number one, you must have an emergency fund so that you can get out of Dodge in case she tells you to get out of the house. All right, visa issues. The myth. I plan to live out the rest of my life in the Philippines. I don't need to leave, so why would anyone care about my expired visa? The reality, all it takes is one angry neighbor or associate to call immigration authorities. Any encounter with police, even a traffic accident, could get you deported. What we see, we routinely visit Americans in immigration jail simply because someone reported their expired visa to get them out of the way. Some flight deportations, but very few succeed. Many Americans who intend to remain in the Philippines run out of money or have a medical emergency that requires them to return unexpectedly to the United States. Fixing their visa issue in the middle of a medical crisis costs time and money they do not have. A week ago, I started working with a gentleman in that exact scenario. He's had a stroke. His visa's been expired for 6 years. I contacted the embassy. They're working on his case, but they told me it's going to take 2 to 3 months working with immigration to try to clear up the arrears that he has with his visa. What to do? Stay legal. Keep your visa current every single month. Explore pathways to long-term residency, including visas for retirees and spouses of Philippines citizens. Okay, financial issues. The myth. I can use online banking for all my needs. The reality, if you lose your debit card or credit card or get locked out of your online account, it can be impossible, excuse me, to get access to your money without going into a bank branch. Almost no American banks have branches in the Philippines. The Federal Benefits Unit and the VA may be able to send future deposits to a new account, excuse me again, but they cannot move money that has already been deposited. It can take months to change banks and receive your first deposit in the new account. What we see, Americans run out of money for food and shelter because they have lost access to the U.S. bank account. They end up homeless and hungry, despite having thousands of dollars sitting in an account they cannot access. What to do? Here's your solution. Consider opening a local bank account. Have more than one credit card in case one gets lost or blocked. Consider adding a trusted U.S. friend or family member as an authorized user who can resolve issues in person and send you replacement cards if needed. Talk to your Social Security office before you move to get tips for managing your benefits overseas. Okay, moving right along, we've only got 2 more. Custody issues. I signed the birth certificate, so I have, well, the myth. I signed the birth certificate, so I have parental rights. The reality, if you aren't married, the mother has 100% legal control of the children born in the Philippines. She can stop you from seeing them tomorrow. What we see, American fathers in the Philippines often ask the embassy for help gaining access to their kids after the relationship with the mom ends. All we can do is refer them to a local attorney. What to do? Think about the local laws and culture before deciding to have children. Talk with your partner about your expectations around child custody. Unfortunately, I have a friend in this exact same pickle. Two of them. Neither here nor there. Marijuana and other drugs. This is the last one. We saved the best for last. The myth. Marijuana is legal now, right? The reality. Marijuana, including medical marijuana, is illegal here. The embassy cannot get you out of a Philippines jail. What we see, we have Americans in jail right now for tiny quantities of marijuana. It is a terrible ordeal for them and their families, and especially difficult for older Americans. What to do? Do not bring or use marijuana or any other illegal drug in the Philippines. Leave any product derived from marijuana at home, including all forms of medical marijuana. End of memo. Hopefully that answers some questions for you. Gave you a little reality check on what's to expect, what not to expect. I want to try to entertain a couple of comments here, but as promised, I wanted to keep this short and sweet, and we'll just see what we're talking about up here. Let's see. I'll go back a little bit. We'll spend about 10 or 15 minutes on comments if I can get this thing to move. Always a hassle. Let's see. Yeah, we got some mentions here. I'm having this thing's giving me a tough time moving. Here we go. A lot of hellos, so thank you guys from England, from, Paul's on Philippine time. You know, this thing says it won't go on until I press live. It's lying to me. So I always try to set it up. Yeah, good morning, Paul and May. Nice you are doing live streams. We know how much you like doing live streams. Yeah, not exactly my favorite things. And it looks like we have a new member, so thank you very much. And they're complaining that I must be on Philippine times. So I apologize. When I set this thing up, it was just making sure the camera and the microphone worked. And that was that. So we got 258 people in the room. I appreciate you all very much. Let's see here. Wow. This mouse is mousy. Ay, ay, ay. New member, thank you very much. I should explain my member channel for a minute. Another new member, thank you very much. I think someone gave me $9.99, so thank you very much. I'm having a real tough time getting this thing to scroll through the comments. Let's see. Yeah, Bad Panda. $9.99. Thank you very much. Appreciate the love. Okay, so that's about the embassy. And then I wanted to address one other issue while I did have your undivided attention here. And that is I've had people say that I'm selling out because I started a membership channel. And the reason I started a membership channel was not for financial gain. Just for the record, to join and become a member on my channel costs 99 cents a month. That's less than $12 a year. If it could be 9 cents, that's what I would charge. The purpose of the members only channel is simply to have an alternative channel instead of creating a whole brand new one. There are days and times when I want to talk about things other than the Philippines, and I don't think that's fair for people who tune into a guy called Paul in the Philippines. And if I start talking about, things non-related Philippines, but still are of interest to me and possibly you, that's where I want to do it at. I don't want to mix it into the old dog channel. So that's to clear that up. My membership deal is not any kind of e-begging or money grab or anything like that. If I could make it free, I would. It would just be an alternative channel. But I didn't want to go through all the hoopla of starting another channel. All right, I am going to wrap it up right here and right now. I promised this would be short. I will put a link once this thing processes and turns into a video that can be viewed later. I will put the link into the SMART program. And again, I really want to encourage you guys to enroll in that. It takes 5 minutes, and it will let the embassy know that you're here. It will give pertinent information. Should you have an issue and you need to contact the embassy, it will be that much less time that they have to hunt you down, and that much less time that you've got to fill in all that information anyway. You can knock it out now. Forewarned is forearmed. And so they will know where you're at, who to contact. If you have an emergency, you can help yourself, help yourself. That is my live stream, guys. Thank you all very much for watching. One more time, I'm going to request, I'm not going to ask you to like this live stream. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe to my channel. I am going to simply ask that if you found this information pertinent, if you think it may be informative for other people, friends, neighbors, etc., please share this little live stream or this little video, which is what it's going to turn into, with anybody that you think could benefit from it. All right, it's a pleasure and an honor for me to serve my country in some small way here as a liaison with the embassy. And I will see you crazy people in my next video.